Right.
I only want to talk to that person.
Yeah.
Because that was me.
Yeah.
That is me.
Yeah.
I just learned how to socially be very, very good. And so, yeah, dude. And my introspection is only because all I had was myself for such a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're that person and you only have yourself, well, you have a lot of time to get to know yourself.
Yeah,
So,
no, exactly. And
Yeah.
I had growing up, I had a lot of static because I was always around people, but I was always in a safe bubble of people.
yeah.
I was only around people who I knew were like me. So then when I came down to where we are now in our bunker that nobody needs to know about.
No.
Now that I'm here, I had to learn how to interact with everybody.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to be a trainer. I always make the joke that because nobody wants a depressed, introverted trainer training. Why would you do that?
Nope.
Never.
But the thing that I think is interesting is that I had to learn. I used Tony Horton as my template of how to learn how to interact with people and the personality that I had adopted. And it was annoying at first.
Tony Horton.
Tony Horton,
P90X?
P90X, love him.
Oh.
Love him. Love Tony Horton. I
did P90X.
I did 2 rounds of P90X.
I did 40 days.
That's not so. You did P40X.
Yeah, okay, fine. Jackass.
I told you,
This
math's
guy-
not my strong point. but
Talk
I know
about
that.
fiber.
Shit talking.
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
This
there you
guy's
go.
been eating broccoli for
Goodness.
weeks.
But yeah, so I had to learn how to be that way. But transitioning back to goals and things like that, I think the one, you said, you made a point where, and I've heard this all the time, tell people your goals. I read something at one point where the guy said, and again, I don't know names, I can't remember, I'll have to look it up and put a link somewhere because
It was Tony Horton.
it was probably Tony Horton. No, but he
Tony
said,
Horton is going to be the Phil now. I don't remember where it was from. You know, they said live,
Yeah,
love, laugh.
yeah.
Tony Horton.
It's like the Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott quote. It's
Yeah.
just Tony Horton.
It's always Tony Horton.
We're going to get sued.
When in doubt, Tony Horton.
Yeah, exactly. And they said you shouldn't be broadcasting your goal to everybody because then it's all just talk. And I remember reading that and I thought to myself, like, I understand the concept. I understand the thought process behind, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run a 5K. And you tell everybody you're gonna run a 5K and you just build it up. But I honestly feel like you have to be some kind of a real mental gymnast to tell 100 people you're going to run a 5K and convince yourself not to run a fucking 5K.
Well, there's some psychology behind it.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so
We're not therapists.
No, we're not. I just read stuff. So
I can read.
yeah. So
Real good.
when you set so when you complete a goal, there is there's endorphin rush, right? There's a chemicals that go in your brain, the completion, right?
Success is addictive.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. It feels really good.
Are we
And
talking
there
about
is
sex again?
yes, we're talking about sex again. Yeah, sorry.
Vinyasa.
Yeah, vinyasa.
It's shavasana.
Oh yeah.
I almost said Shabbat.
Shabu shabu.
Shabbos
Shabbos?
Shabu shabu.
Shabu
I was thinking
shabu.
of Walter from The Big Lebowski when he goes, "I don't roll on Shabbos."
Oh, Shabbos, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, that's
Okay.
good. So there's an endorphin rush that happens, right? The completion of a task and something like that. It's very, very exciting. And studies have shown that when you broadcast that, right? There's a difference, though. I think there's a difference between what you were stating and broadcasting, right? Because, the new introduction of social media and gratification you get almost instantly from saying something. There's a difference between going to someone that you care about, whether a good friend or a mentor or, family member, and saying, I'm going to do this, and I've set this goal. It's very important to me. I'm telling you because I want to be held accountable. That's different than saying, I'm going to run hey guys, I just signed up for a 5K. And people are like, I'm so proud of you. That's so awesome. Yeah. In the moment that you broadcast, you are receiving the praise that you would receive once you've completed it. So therefore, your mind starts to go through this phase of like, I just received the praise. I don't have to do the work.
Right.
So people end up not doing the work. And that's why there's this new, there's studies now that show that like, people who broadcast their goals online or, have these big grand reveals, I'm going to do this thing. And they basically get all of the endorphin rush without having to do the work.
Right.
It's
That's
sugar
so
alcohol.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely the instant gratification.
Yep.
and socially.
Yeah.
Socially, that's what we're
because you're
all
not going to
into.
get much more so especially like a physical feat that takes if you're not already in that space, if you're not someone who runs 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, if you're not someone who weightlifts, if you're not someone who loses weight frequently and is able to do that, it's hard as shit to do. And realistically, the praise you're getting before you've even done it is not much different than the praise you'd get after.
Right.
And I think, that just clarifies your intention behind it. Like, did you really want that thing?
Yeah.
You just wanted the cool, like, I'm going to do this
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. I think that really can speak to your authenticity and, like, what's your motivation? I want to know your why. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to come to me with a goal idea, like, fantastic. Let's go and do it all the way. But let's also know your why.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to fuel you the next day when no one's praising you, when you have to do the work, when you have to get up to do your long run. It's
That was
that
this morning
wide.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was rough.
You're a champ.
Nope, not yet.
Let's talk
Lock the
programming.
endorphins.
Let's talk programming because we have a weightlifting coach. We have a yoga instructor. Can I call you a yogi?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Please.
Just
Hell
making
yeah,
sure.
dude.
I don't
She
know.
stars
You
forest
could say
fires.
yogini if you like.
Yogini?
Yeah. Is this news?
Oh,
I'm teaching something new.
I only know Nagini from Harry Potter.
I'm gonna let you enjoy that.
Okay.
Yogini sounds so
Yogini.
magical.
Yogini
I know,
is like
right?
the female yogi.
I love
Okay,
that.
you're a yogini.
You're Yogini.
So we
Got
have
it.
But
a
you can
resident
call
yogini, and I'm going to try not. I don't mean that to sound condescending. I just had never heard that word before. Let's talk programming. I mean, I think one thing that there is an immense amount of static on, and an immense amount of overabundance, is weightlifting programs. And I haven't seen, and I don't know how yoga programming works. So one question that I have specifically before we get into this one is, and this one I'm asking because I have a client who came to me at one point, and her goal was to be able to do crow pose.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you know what that
Do you
is.
remember Rose?
I do.
I got Rose in crow pose when we were doing
Are
yoga.
you talking about sex again?
Did you? Isn't it always? It's either poop or sex. It's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the two.
Love those two things.
They're the best.
So you got Rose into a crow pose.
Rose the crow pose.
Rose the crow pose.
What's the crow pose?
Wait, okay, so how
It's
long?
where you've got your two hands on the ground, your knees are coming up onto your tricep, your gaze is out in front of you, and you're lifting your toes up behind. You're basically like in a little.
It's a
fetal
handstand
position.
with your knees on your triceps.
Oh,
It's
okay,
an
yeah.
inversion. It's an arm balance. Yeah.
Yeah, an inversion. That's what I was trying to think of. How?
I had to learn how to do that before I learned how to do the freestanding stuff.
Yeah, so that's exactly how they kind of break it down into those regressions, you would call them technically, but the word regression even kind of sucks. But you would break them down.
Progression, dude.
Progression.
Starting somewhere, not ending somewhere. Dude. Come on, man.
How did you get her there then? Because I assume she couldn't do it. I remember Rose was a client of mine.
Yeah.
She couldn't do a pull up, and before she left, I think she had done like 3 or 4.
That's awesome.
And I was
dope, dude.
I was so, and she did it in a, like she was fighting me on it. And she was like, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, well, just try. Just fucking try. Just get up on the, how many times have you heard me say, get up on the fucking bar and just do it? And she did it, and she banged out 3 pull-ups. And
That's
she shocked
tight.
herself.
Yeah.
And Rose is what, 5'2"?
Probably.
Yeah, she's tiny.
We're talking about Rose from Golden Girls, right? Betty White.
Yes, it was, that was
yeah,
Rose.
okay.
That was the Rose I
You
had.
keep saying Rose, and I'm literally envisioning Betty
in
White
your
from
mind.
Golden Girls.
She's just as cute. Like her personality, like blooming.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
amazing. She's so cool.
Love
her.
So how did you get her there? Because this falls into programming, right? Which is as a coach, you see somebody who has a goal, a short-term or a long-term goal. How do you get them there?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the building blocks and the prep. So we call it drills. A lot of times, like handstand drills is a big buzz on, especially on social media, because everyone wants to post their handstand. But it's all
Fuck
about
Instagram. Sorry.
That's where my business comes
I was about to say,
We
dude.
love you, Instagram.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool it.
We love you, Facebook.
Cool it, man.
But-
Jeez Louise.
But yes, and fuck Instagram. It's the worst.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot
See you
of
later, Meta.
That's a different podcast.
Oh, sorry.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I have a lot to say on that. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah.
VR yoga.
It's totally about consistency, programming, consistency and drills that lead you to that point. And then observing the body. I think for me, a big part with like things like that, with arm balances and things like that, it's a lot of like watching the body. So that's something where, yes, there's some anatomy component, but it's also about like the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way of how my body works. And so it's seeing what's going on, what their experience is, and then guiding them to it. Now, I think ultimately bigger goals, like from consistent yogis, is the practice all the time with the same instructor who you care and love, care about and love. There is something about when you have that same class that you go to each week. If you're not working one-on-one, you're going to a studio, commit to an instructor who is consistent in their own practice. So I think that's a big part of it. For me, is just having that at least every week, because that's when you see the growth happen. That's what I would say.
Yeah, consistency.
Consistency being, I think consistency is the key for anything, obviously, but in what we're talking about specifically, consistency and in our world, it's progressive overload. And I mean, it is the same world, really.
It's the same. I mean, in yoga, my very, very basic understanding of the practice, like, there's resistance you apply to the body. I mean, getting better requires better mastery of your body, better, awareness and better mind-body control. And the resistance you apply is progressively increasing based on your skill level and your body awareness. That's progressive overload. It's just you don't have silly weights doing it. Yeah. I think the key to any program, and you said it perfectly, which is you find that class that you like, that you're the yogi that you're into, or yogini if you're into that one. The key is finding one that you will do. People are like, oh, what's the best program? I mean, we all know the answer is the best program is the one that you will do for longer than 4 weeks. Right. That's the best program. Right. There is no magic. If there was magic, nothing else would exist. Right. There's none. The fact that there's 100 different programs, 100 different coaches with the answer just goes to show you that there isn't one. It's the one you're willing to do for the longest amount.
And whoever has the best marketing.
Yeah, that's right. Whoever's got the most amount of curtsy lunges.
Tony Horton.
Horton.
Yeah, he had some great marketing.
Dude, I loved it. Ab Ripper X, baby.
Oh my God.
You love terrible. It. You hate it.
It was miserable.
Oh my gosh, so hard. Oh my gosh.
It's still one of my favorite ab programs. When I was
It is one of the best I think it's one of the best. So interesting. Yeah,
it mixes everything up. I had you guys do a lot of ab ripper. You did it. You just didn't know you did it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Tony. I was
that's
trying
how I like most
400
of the
reps,
things. I want to do it without knowing I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's
We're
sex,
back
right?
on sex, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, you are my people.
Yeah.
I mean, should you be working out every day?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm someone who believes that the body should move every single
Should
day.
be physical.
That's a good way of putting it, because when I think also, again, going back to what we know and like this bubble that we're in versus someone who's just stepping into it, your body should move every day.
Every single day.
You should get out of sedentary lifestyle. Like work out every day. To me, I instantly cringe, but I know I need to move my body every day. I know I need to get out of bed every day. If that day comes where I don't, I'm going to get curious about it and accept that that's where I'm at today. Like that's what's happening today. And like,
and why are you there?
But yeah. And there's productivity within that too. That's where the brain, like the introspection and like the going inward comes in. I can meditate laying down in my bed with tears coming out of my eyes if I intend to. You know?
So that's actually immensely powerful because again, my mentality is, or used to be, if you're not up doing something, you're a lazy shit. Like, why are you not in the gym? I would text people, why are you not here?
Yeah.
But that's actually a great point because, I mean, your mental health is what's going to drive you regardless. Your body will exist, obviously. Your body can exist, and if you get it moving, it will exist in a functional way. But if your mind's not there, I mean, how many lifts have you missed because your mind wasn't in it?
Oh, dude, all of them. Every single one.
Yeah.
Every single missed lift is because it was almost, I would say almost never because I wasn't strong enough. It was always because I wasn't focused.
Yeah. That was always what, even here's still what I tell people is, you have to get your mind in it. Yeah, if you are not here, I've sent people home because I've said, you're not here right now.
Those were some powerful days, and I can like visualize it, like feel it. It's so true.
Our coach threatened to fire me as an athlete because he's like, I was missing lifts. They were hard. That was at like 95%. I was missing them, and he's just like, I swear to God, you're not here. Like
I don't know where you are, but you're not here.
He's like, you don't pay me enough to waste my time. And I was like, who the fuck are you? Yeah. And then not until like years later did I realize how powerful that was. I was like, oh my gosh.
And that's actually, it's interesting because I had that mentality, and I've calmed it, and especially now I think that I'm a dad, I've kind of toned that back a little bit. But I had the mentality not because I just wanted to be a dick. It's what I'm good at, but not because I wanted to just be a dick the whole time. I had that mentality because I knew you guys could do it. I was that coach, and I knew you guys could do it. And it's so frustrating to know in my heart that it's in you guys, but your head's not there. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of, from my perspective as a coach, that's where a lot of coaches, we need to convey that in a different way. Yeah. We need to convey that to you guys. And our job isn't just to make you, yes, we can believe in you all day long. We can believe in there were so many times you walked up on that deadlift platform and I was like, you can fucking do this. Fucking do it. Yeah. And I should have said, what's going on? Where are you? What's happening? And
I think there were a few times where you did. And for me, it was often exhibited as like clearing energy is like the best way I can describe it now that I have that. I do not like crying in front of people. And it makes me really uncomfortable to watch someone else cry because then I cry. Yeah. But I know now in, learning from my teachers, there is something that needs to move, and crying often can do that for people. Yeah. And those times where I think it did become a conversation besides like, hey, I know you can do this and you're not here. And then it developed into, okay, let's talk about it. There was a really like profound acknowledgement of what was actually going on. And, in the yoga world, it looks a little different where it's like people just want to power through. They want to do all the things. They want to go. And they're just like,
they treat it like circuit training. Yeah. And I have people here who do that. They go to a yoga class and they're like, it's not hard. I'm like, you didn't make it
because
hard.
You didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't.
Well, and the intention also is like, I think that's a big fault of the high intensity training world is like you have to be in this like crazy state in order to find success. And like, there's so much success in being able to understand like, if you can come out of it and be like, I know what my leg feels like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My whole leg from the tip of my toe all the way up into my groin. I can feel every part of it.
Yeah, you can activate each thing.
And not just muscular wise, but like understand its space, right, and like how much space it takes and how it moves in connection to my body, right, and how I can, different my limitations, my right, that is that beats any deadlift.
Totally.
Because the application that you can have from understanding how your body interacts, not just the musculature aspect, but like truly responds to when you ask it to do something. That mind-body awareness is so powerful.
Well, and it's the difference between solving an equation, like solving a math equation, and knowing how the numbers interact.
I thought you said no math.
Oh God, this won't be on the test. Okay. And throwing it into your calculator. Yeah. Right. If you solved the equation through the calculator, which is fine. If you deadlifted the 500 pounds, fucking awesome. Great. But if you don't know how you did it, if you don't know the things that went into doing it, all you've learned is how to deadlift 500 pounds. That's right. You haven't learned how to transfer that into anything useful other than if you have to lift a car off of somebody.
And there's something. Something I'm really, really thankful of. Before I found, CrossFit, I was very lazy, unmotivated. There was not much of me that was impactful at all. Actually, I was a very bland individual, and something that they kind of like hammer over you is empowerment, of course, but a big part of it is the idea of self-awareness and understanding the what happens when you do a thing, right? So like I would have classes where people, I would put them through a warm up. It'd be stupid. It'd be so gnarly, a really gnarly warm up. And then I would take a moment, we do 100 rep barbell warm up. That's gnarly. That's crazy. And no one put it down because I made a very big point that you don't want to put it down. And I wouldn't say much until the very end. And I'm like, I just need you guys all to take this moment and understand you did 100 rep barbell warm up. We haven't even weightlifted yet. It's incredible.
See, that's a good coach. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and jerk you off the whole time.
Damn.
But I know.
Sex again.
That's what you thought that was going to be. But that's a good coach because you've reinforced their success and leading that into the addiction of success.
But also for me, that's yes. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thank you.
That's the structure
yeah.
of it.
Yes,
for me,
and.
for me,
That's our yoga
Yes,
yeah.
and, yeah.
It's so important that people understand how much more powerful they are.
Yes.
Just, oh my gosh, people think that they're so weak, and they think that they're so
right,
incapable, and it's just like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
First off, physiologically, like you're not. Like what the human body can do is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what it can withstand. I always use this example: the fact that you can have a 450-pound, 50-year-old man or woman walking the streets of Las Vegas, smoking cigarettes and drinking a big gulp, just goes to show you how resilient the human body is. I use that on purpose. The fact that exists is the resilience.
Poignant mental image.
It
what
is.
That is.
It's the resilience of the human body. This thing doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
It wants to survive, and not just that, it wants to thrive.
And to that point, I've always said the human body is terribly efficient at being inefficient.
Yeah.
And
It'll adapt.
it will adapt. It will.
If your leg stops working well, it'll just shift your spine and give
Yep.
you scoliosis, so
Yep.
you start walking straight.
Yep, that's what I got. I got the old Scully. I got the Scully.
You got the